Amazing. Welcome, everybody. So, Tuesdays at 4 o'clock are the Soulful Abundance Business Trainings with me, Chris Williams. And I am so excited to dive into this week's training all about marketing beyond social media. So, marketing, I want to, talk about a couple things. First of all, we're going to talk about the difference between what actually is marketing and what is not marketing and what is sales instead. And we're going to focus on the different ways that you can bring new people into your ecosystem. We're also going to talk about the benefit of actually having an ecosystem. What is an ecosystem? Why do we need to have an ecosystem? Why do we actually need to bring somebody to a certain place? Because what's really important in 2026 is that people are actually looking for connections. They're looking to see you, they're looking to have an experience with you. And so when we market, we want to make sure that we are actually showing up where our most ideal client is. And so I'm just going to dive in with you. So, what is marketing? Marketing is not an icky word. It is not salesy. It is not slimy. Marketing has absolutely, like, we're not even making sales when we are marketing. Okay. Marketing and sales are two completely different things. Marketing is simply getting in front of your ideal client, the ones that you can most support, and sharing with them how you can help them solve their problem. That's it. It is getting in front of your ideal client and sharing with them how you can help them solve their problem so that they have an interest in learning more later about your offers. Okay. Marketing is not making sales. And here's one thing that I see a lot of people getting stuck with, and that is, especially when I'm doing holistic business assessments or things with people, is they say, well, I'm posting, but I'm not getting any clients. And well, getting a client or inviting a client to work with you or enrolling a client needs to be part of a sales system. Posting is your marketing system. Okay, so marketing is how you get seen so that people can raise their hand, so that they can self-identify, so that they can come into your ecosystem. And we're going to talk about two different places that make up our ecosystem. And it's not about avoiding social media because social media is evil. It's about differentiating our business. Because the truth is, I still use social media and you should too. And I'll tell you why. It's just that it's not the only way, right? A lot of people feel like, well, the only way for me to build and grow my coaching business is to just post on social media. And again, posting on social media is a form of marketing, but it has nothing to do with sales. Okay. So why do we need to differentiate our marketing strategies, right? So when we talk about differentiation, that is, what are the places that we can go where our ideal client is hanging out so that they can actually find us, have an experience of us, and decide that they want to take the natural next step? Okay, so some of those natural next steps are going to be to download a freebie. Some of those natural next steps are going to be to join a private Facebook group like mine. Maybe another way is to join a Substack, account if for those of you that are doing Substack, right? So this is a way that we are getting in front of our ideal client so that we can see who they are. They're going to raise their hand so we can actually see them. We can identify who is actually interested and then invite them to take the natural next step. Okay. But again, marketing is not sales, right? Marketing is attracting your ideal client into your ecosystem. Your ecosystem is going to be your email list. Absolutely, for sure. Everybody needs to have an email list. And again, an email list is not your email, it's not your Gmail account. Okay. An email list is actually a place where people are going to give you their name and their email address in exchange for a freebie that you then have an opportunity to continue to connect with them and nurture them through delivering emails, whether it's email newsletters, invitations like you guys got from me today around joining me for this live. Some of you got direct messages as a reminder, an SMS, right? Like a text. Some of you got the emails this morning saying, hey, this is what we're doing, and then another reminder. That's email. Okay. And you need to have an email marketing system in order to do that. An email marketing system would be something like Kit or Mad Mimi or MailerLite or Flowdesk or Constant Contact. These are systems that allow you to bring people into, and we call it our ecosystem, right? Because the people that are opting in to be in our email are actually the ones that are raising their hand and saying, I'm interested. Okay. So when we are differentiating, we are not just growing our email list, right? Because email is only, written. We are also going into other places where we can find our ideal client. Okay. So that we can do a couple things so that we can educate our audience. So marketing does a couple things. It not only gets you in front of your ideal client, but it also is going to help you be clear about how you're different than the next health coach or the other life coach. It's going to allow you to highlight what it is that you do a little bit differently than the next person. And it's also going to educate your audience, right? Like this is really, really important. People are looking for information, but not just information. And this is really, really key. The coaching world, the industry, whether you are a health coach, life coach, nutrition coach, holistic practitioner, if you are in the service-based industry where you are delivering a coaching or a consulting service, there things have changed and the market has changed wildly over the past couple years. What used to work with all of the people that were selling courses no longer works anymore. And here's why. With the introduction of AI, information is easy to access, right? You can pop into ChatGPT, teach me how to do this something, or help me how to download this thing, or, give me, a way that I can, invite somebody to work with me. The information is not as scarce as it used to be. Okay. In the past, information was scarce. And so there were course creators that was creating a way to deliver information. Okay, you might see Amy Porterfield, Jenna Kutchner, many people who have actually gotten rid of their courses. They have shut down not only shut down their programs, but they are also not teaching how to set up courses anymore. And there's a reason for that. And that is because with the introduction of AI, people are looking for actual more human experiences. Okay, so if we are looking for more human experiences, then it's going to be really, really important with our marketing that we also are looking for ways that we can create more human relationships and human experiences. Okay, and I know some of you are like, I just don't like social media. I don't want to be on social media. And that's fine. If you don't want to be on social media ever, that's fine. But you have to still market. And you have to still invite somebody into a community or a hub. And you have to still nurture them and connect with them in some way, shape, or form. Because if you're not doing that, all you're doing is delivering information. And information is not what converts to clients. Okay, what converts somebody from being a viewer or a stranger in your world to want to work with you is actually seeing you, hearing you, having an experience with you, whether it's virtual or in person, right? Like Zoom right now, this is actually not on social media right now. This is just a Zoom room, right? So this is a virtual experience, but it's not necessarily a social media experience. Now, I will share this with my community inside of my Facebook group because that is one of my hubs. I will share it with my email list because that is part of my hub, my email list and my community, where I know that I've got people there who have raised their hand saying, yeah, I want to learn that. Like every single one of you are here are telling me, I can see your names here in the chat. I know that you're here. You've all raised your hand to be here in the room by clicking the link to tell me that you're interested in learning how to market beyond social media, right? Yeah, so now I can see you. This isn't about like, oh, somebody watched a recording and now they don't get to have an experience with me anymore. You are having a live experience. You can see I'm a real person. I'm not AI generated content. I'm actually a real human being and I can talk to you and I can hear you and I can answer your questions and I can help support you to create wins. Okay. So when we talk about marketing, I want you to think about, one of the questions that we want to ask ourselves. And let me just pull up my notes real quick because I just want to make sure I don't miss anything. Is we want to ask ourselves, where is it? How can whatever it is that I'm doing move somebody closer to a connection? Okay, how can I move somebody closer to a connection? So, no matter where you're doing your marketing, even using off social media strategies, we still want to move them into spaces, like I mentioned, for more connection and where the conversions actually happen. Okay, so marketing is getting in front of our ideal client, and let's dive in to actually find out ways that you can actually figure out how to do that, right? So, I've got 25 ways that you can attract people to your email list or your hub that have nothing to do with you showing up on social media. Okay, so remember, the purpose of doing this off of social media is to have a wider expanse of visibility. Okay, we can have a visibility on social media, and there are other ways that we can also create visibility off of social media. So, one of the fastest converting ways that you can market is actually being in front of and inviting people to come into your ecosystem through things like referrals, right? So think of this as relationship driven ways of marketing. So you might not be on social media, but you could invite your current clients or your past clients via email to either join a training like you guys are joining me here now, join the email list by downloading a free guide, something like that. Okay, so you want to take a look at relationship driven places. Where can you actually connect with people where your ideal client actually is? So your past clients and your current clients are actually your ideal client, and they also have connections. So you could invite them to share a freebie. You could invite them to join a masterclass. You could invite them to join a live on Zoom. You could invite them to come to an in-person meetup. So we're going to go through a lot of different things. Okay. You can also follow up with people that you've had conversations with before, whether it's via text or email, and say, hey, I haven't heard from you. Just wanted to let you know I'm doing this free training. Just wanted to let you know I've got this meetup event coming up. Just wanted to let you know we're doing this coffee chat or this fireside chat, and I would like to, invite you. Feel free to bring a friend. Okay. You can connect at networking events. And that is actually one of the first things before there was all of this, social media and, craziness happening. I built and grew my business by connecting with people, building real relationships through networking events, but also through collaboration partners. And so those are just two of the 25 ways that we're going to talk about. But you can absolutely go to an in-person networking event. There's also online networking events that are just virtual, right? They might not be on social media, but they still might be a virtual networking group, right? I know that my local national organization for women in business actually has both. They give you an opportunity to come to an in-person event, or you can come to one of their virtual events where you can meet everybody in a Zoom room. So that is not hosted on social media, it's just hosted virtually. You can do that, and you can share a little bit about who you are, what it is that you do, and those people can either become referral partners for you, or they might actually become clients for you when you're like, hey, this is what I do. This is who I'm looking to support. Do you know anybody that this might serve? There's going to be people that are listening and say, you know what? Yeah, actually, you could help me, right? I know that I've been to networking events and I've actually hired one of the people or two of the people that were actually part of that networking event because they had a service that I needed. Okay. Another way is to attend retreats or in person workshops. This is so, so fun. As a matter of fact, I'm hosting one this week. Tomorrow, I am hosting a retreat up at the Well of Mercy. In July, I'll be hosting another one, which is going to be an in-person event. This is actually part of my marketing strategy, not just to host my own, but to actually be in other rooms where there are women, business owners, and entrepreneurs hanging out. Okay, so for example, every quarter, I just got back, what was it, last week already? Oh my gosh, that's crazy. I was in Atlanta. I went to a event called the Champagne Club, and it is where female founders got together, and it was intimate. There was about 20 of us. They were all, again, building and growing their own businesses, and we had an opportunity to connect with each other and to hear what each other was doing. And we've made multiple connections and collaborations that way. So that would be an in-person way that you could do that. I am also part of a virtual event. There's about 125 female founders and entrepreneurs, and we set up coffee chats with each other to hear what's going on, what are they doing, what do they have coming up, so that we can help each other by leveraging each other's audiences. So a strategic collaboration or leveraging other people's audience is just somebody else that's helping you get in front of more of your ideal client. Sometimes that might be them helping you get in front of their community because their community has your ideal client in it. Sometimes that might look like somebody sharing your freebie to their email list so that they can give you exposure. Sometimes that looks like bringing a guest expert inside of a community, or whether it's a community that you've got online or a Zoom room. It could be a guest expert inside of a paid program as well. So these are all ways that you are connecting with people to get in front of leveraging other people's audiences, but it's still based on relationships. Okay. So again, as I mentioned, I make it a point every single quarter to get into at least one in-person room. That's how important it is for me personally as a solo entrepreneur to get in the room with other women, but it also is a fast track way to have somebody else share you, whether it's through a referral or whether it's through sharing you with their community or whether it's connecting you with another person. That is all marketing. Okay. So, and this is a place where we are actually building real relationships. This isn't like, how do I get a client from this networking event? This is, how can I connect with somebody that could help me get in front of my ideal client? Okay. You can also speak at small group events, right? So one of the things that I do when I do my retreats or when I do my workshops in person is I invite speakers to come in and do that. I invite people to share what it is that they've got going on so that they can have a wider exposure as well. So you could speak at a small group event. You could host a small group event as well, where you are giving somebody a clear opt-in. So clear opt-in could be a freebie. Like one of my sponsors actually in my event this week is a psychic and an intuition expert. And she is giving every one of our retreat participants access to her Developing Your Intuition course. Okay, so she is getting exposure to my audience, to the people that are there in person, but she's also going to be promoted on my social media as a sponsor, and she's also being promoted in my email list. Okay. You can also host intimate in-person gatherings, whether it is like a coffee chat or a fire chat. I also used to do meetups. Meetups were super, super fun. And what was crazy is that in all of my meetups, even if it was small, even if there was only 5, 6 people there, one of them always became a client in some way, shape, or form, right? So why? In-person connection. We are all craving real people. So I want you to think about this in terms of relationships. And again, relationships can happen both in person and virtually too. Okay. But you can either host your own meetup group or you can go to other meetup groups. You could just decide to get a whole bunch of people together and say, hey, let's just go, go to this tea house down the road and connect and just have tea and chat, and you can share maybe something very, very specific where you're teaching something specific for 15, 20 minutes, and then the rest of the time is everybody else connecting and learning and asking questions with you. Okay, let me get back to my notes. Great. So you can host those in person. You can also host them in Zoom, right? This is actually an intimate gathering, right? We probably have less than 25 people here, but I'm hosting this. This is free. There's no charge to be here. You are all here in my Zoom room. It's intimate and you're learning something, right? So this is a form of marketing. And then I can repurpose this, right? What I'm doing here is both sharing value and connecting with you and creating a relationship with you so that you get to see, do I even like her? Do I even want to learn what it is that Chris has to say? Do I like her energy? Do I relate to her? Do I resonate with what it is she's saying? And the truth is, it's okay if it's a yes. It's also okay if it's a no. That's really, really important because our marketing needs to do that. We are not for everybody. We are for a very specific ideal client. If we try to be everybody, then what happens is that our marketing message falls completely flat. Nobody knows who we're for if we try to be something for everybody, right? So we want to make sure that it's that, and we acknowledge that it's totally okay if somebody doesn't feel like we're their cup of tea. Not a problem. That's actually a good thing. We want people to self-select, right? Like if you are in my world and you are a real estate agent, I probably can't help you because I have know nothing about selling houses. My specialty is working with service-based holistic entrepreneurs and service-based practitioners. That's my specialty. And so I'm very, very clear in my messaging that what I do is I help women who are service-based holistic business owners and female founders create boutique businesses. Right, so that's another one of my differentiators. As I'm talking to you about this, I want you to think about what is your differentiator, right? I'm not going to help you build an empire, hire a team, and do all of those things. That's not the way that I run my business, and that is not what I enjoy doing. Okay, so if you want to build an empire and you want to, have a $10 million business with a team and a sales team and all of that, amazing. I will connect you with somebody who I think is fantastic. But that's not me, right? What I do is I help women create boutique businesses. And a boutique business is a lean team, maybe a private VA. It's somebody who has a offer suite that is going to help them get to six figures, multiple six figures, so 100K to 500K, with a high profit margin, which means that we're not spending a lot of money on payroll. We're hardly spending any money on payroll, right? We don't want to make payroll. We want to keep more of it. Okay. So notice that these are differentiators with what makes me either a good fit for you or not. And either one is fine, right? So I want you to think about that when you are marketing, when you are sharing your message, when you are talking to people, it's okay for you to say, look, this is who I work with, right? Jessica's here. She's one of my clients in Activate. I'm so glad she's here. She works with women who want to overcome stage fright. Whether it's a person who wants to be on stage or voice or singing, right? So that's very niche. That's very, very specific, right? She could probably help speakers. Any of you guys that are like terrified to be on stage, go check out Jessica. Go check out Jessica because she will absolutely help you with that. Okay. So let's continue with the marketing pieces. A borrowed audience is the next category of places that I want you to take a look at. So when we think about a borrowed audience, this is getting in front of other people's audience. We call these leveraging other people's audiences. And ways that you can do this are being a guest on somebody's podcast. So for example, when I go onto a podcast, I am sharing something that is unique and something that I am excited to teach about. And then I give them access to a freebie. There's a clear call to action saying, if you want this free download, if you want this guide, here you go. What that does is it allows you to get in front of somebody in a long form content, okay, and bring them into your email system. Okay. When I go on a podcast, I also give people access to my hub. So I give people access to my Substack if they want to check me out there. I give them access to my Facebook group if they want to come in and learn more there. Okay. But the podcast itself is an offline, off social media rather, way that you can get in front of somebody else's audience. Okay. You can also teach in somebody else's program or community, right? So again, I mentioned this earlier, but the way that we want to do this is if you want to bring somebody into your community or you want to go into somebody else's community that has your ideal client. And this is really, really important, right? I'm not going to go into somebody else's community that is full of men corporate. Why? Because that's not my ideal client, right? I'm not going to go into somebody else's community that is full of real estate agents. That's not what I do, right? Could I give them some marketing tips? Sure. But they're probably not going to continue to work with me because I don't know anything about selling houses, right? So when we are a guest expert inside of somebody else's program or community, what we're looking for is being very clear of who is that audience, who's in their audience, right? Is your ideal client there? And we actually do the same thing for podcasts too, right? If we are going on somebody else's podcast, when you're teaching about cooking, you're probably not going to, go into, somebody else's podcast that's talking about something completely different, right? So we want to make sure that when we're looking for these opportunities, that they have our ideal client inside of them, because we are going to be offering something for free so that they come onto our email list or into our hub. Okay. You can speak at summits or bundles. There's a lot of different really great ways of speaking these days. Summits are when a whole bunch of people get together and somebody hosts a summit and there's multiple speakers talking about their different zone of genius, but just in a different way, right? So summits are really, really great. They can also repurpose those summits and do something more like a podcast, like Hello Audio. So for those of you that don't know about Hello Audio is a great place where you can actually do a training or do a teaching, and it will host your workshop, your training, your teaching onto Hello Audio so people can just listen to it, right? They don't have to access a membership portal. They can just go directly to that link where your training is. So that's where we've got our Abundant Coach Code trainings that we did in January. We put all of our 6, 7 days of trainings in there so that people can access those anytime. And so anytime people go there, they have to opt in. So they give us their name and their email address. Now they're in my ecosystem and they are getting delivered value. It's just off of social media, right? So let's talk about another one, bundles. Bundles are actually really fun because bundles are where a group of people get together and they share their free lead magnet. Okay, there's a lot of different bundles out there. You can Google bundles based on your niche or your ideal client. So, for example, I do a lot of business bundles. So I look specifically for coaches, health practitioners, life coaches that are wanting to get to their first 6 figures and or scale to that multiple 6 figure range. So I look for those that are teaching marketing and soulful sales and high integrity ways that we can actually build and grow our business. Okay, so bundles are you're providing a lead magnet that you've already created inside of the bundle. And let's just say that there's 50 people that are sharing their lead magnet in that bundle. Well, the benefit is that everybody is sharing their lead magnet to their audience, which means you're getting in front of 50 other people's audience. That's amazing. That's great. And the cool thing about your freebie is that we're going to, have it be a specific freebie, how to calm your stage fright in 5 minutes or less. I'm just going to totally make some stuff up here because I'm looking at Jessica. That would be something that is only going to raise the people who download your freebie are going to be attracting your ideal client because your freebie, your free lead magnet, the title of it, the result that people can expect to have are going to be attractive to people, even in front of 50 communities. Okay, so that is another really, really great way that you can get a large exposure with a borrowed audience. Okay, and this is really cool too, and because it accelerates trust, right? When I send something out to my email list, the people that are in my email list have opted in because they have seen something, they've heard me somewhere, I've either been talking, they came to my podcast, they saw me on a podcast, they're in my community. And so when I recommend somebody, there's a transfer of trust that happens there. Okay, so there is a faster transfer of trust when you are borrowing other people's audiences or leveraging other people's audiences. You could host a workshop with a partner, right? So two of you could get together. One of you could be a fitness coach. Another of you could be a life coach. You could do a workshop together and invite each other's audiences to come to the workshop. You can do newsletter swaps. I actually just did this. One of my friends who is inside of my virtual networking group, we just did a Facebook newsletter list swap not Facebook, freebie swap where I gave her my freebie and she shared it to her email list and she gave me hers and I shared it to mine. Okay, so those are called email freebie swaps. Easy to do, Doesn't, you can repurpose what it is that you've already created. You don't need to keep creating new ones over and over and over again. You could also do something like a newsletter swap. So, for example, you could either feature somebody in your newsletter, or you could be featured in somebody else's newsletter. And now there's a lot of people that actually will host you for a fee. So let's just say they have an audience of 20,000 people. Maybe they have a fee that you can be inside of that you can be promoted to their newsletter. Okay, so that is, a pay to play part, but not everybody charges to be in their newsletter. So that is another way that you can get in front of your ideal client. You can be featured in articles, blogs, expert roundups. Oh my gosh, I've been on a founders roundtable before where I've talked with four other people. You can start your own blog if you like to write, or do something like Substack where you like to write, right? And you can also be a guest expert in other people's blogs. So you can be a guest blogger, or you can be a guest on somebody else's podcast or somebody else's channel. So I just want you to hear how many different ways there really, really are to market. Okay. The last thing that we're going to talk about are some strategic partnerships. So we already talked about partnering with complementary coaches and practitioners, but I think that this is really important, so I want to repeat it. We are looking for complementary coaches or partners or practitioners. We're not looking for competitors. We're not looking for people that don't serve our ideal client. We are really looking for people who are already serving our ideal client, just in a different way. Okay. You can collaborate with local businesses. So think about studios, clinics, clubs. When I was first getting started, I would collaborate with local acupuncturists, chiropractors. I would go do a talk for their community, and they would feature me inside of their email newsletter, and they would promote the talk. I would also do some really, really fun things like going to do a talk at the Pure Barre studio, or different places where I knew that my ideal client was hanging out, because I was a health and life coach. So I would go to those places and partner with them and give a little training or do a talk, which allowed me to serve them, connect with them, and really begin to create relationships with them. Okay, so that's all part of your offering a workshop or doing a talk for somebody else's audience. You can create a referral partner system, which is another way of saying that somebody could, let's say, promote your freebie or promote your talk or promote your workshop, and then they get a percentage or a flat rate if anybody joins you and pays for your program. So those are what we call affiliates. Those are not joint venture partnerships. Those are actually affiliates, where if let's just say that I share Jessica's program, and I'm like, yeah, Jessica, like, give me the copy, give me all the details. I'm going to send it to my email list. But we have an agreement that for everybody who joins from my email list, who joins her program and becomes a paid client, I get $100. Okay, so that's kind of like a referral bonus fee. I do that for my people too. If they're inside of any of my programs, if they bring a friend that decides to join the program, if they share a workshop and somebody joins from their community, they get a referral bonus. It's a way to say thank you. Okay, so that's another really great way that you can do that. And then finally is evergreen traffic. And so this is a little bit slower, but it is powerful. So evergreen traffic is going to be things like long form content on YouTube. Okay, where it stays. So we call it evergreen because all people need to do is do a search, and something from 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago might come up in the search engine. Okay. The same thing with search engine blog posts, right? So if you like to write and you want to do blogs, the blog post would talk about something specific, but it would lead to your opt-in or a lead magnet. So let's just say, I decided to do a blog post about marketing off of social media or beyond social media and how you could do that. And then I could give people the handout, which would be an opt-in to get the guide for marketing off social media, the 25 ways that you can market beyond or off social media. Okay, so now that brings them from one place into my email system, into my ecosystem. Pinterest is actually something that is also, it's a slower burn, but it stays evergreen. So you can create a little graphic that is inviting somebody to download tips or talk about something, which then when they click on that link, when they click on the graphic, they have to give you their name and email address because they're going to go to your opt-in page in order to get the freebie, in order to get to the training, in order to get to the meditations, in order to get whatever it is that lead magnet is that is located on Pinterest. Okay, so Pinterest leads links directly to your lead magnet. Okay, and then of course your own podcast. So you could host your own podcast and that just gets to be repurposed, right? If you decide that you want to bring guests onto your podcast, which I do my own private podcast where I'm the only one that's speaking, but I also bring guests in. And the reason for that is because I like to play the generosity game. When I bring somebody onto my podcast that is supportive of women entrepreneurs, they get to share their zone of genius and it gives value to my people. And guess what? They are also going to share their podcast episode to their community, which means it gets my podcast in front of multiple audiences. So every time I have a guest expert, they share their podcast episode to their community, which means that their community is coming to my podcast and they're getting access to hear, see, learn, and also download some cool things. So that was a lot, you guys. Woo! Can't believe I've been talking for almost 40 minutes all about just marketing beyond social media. So why do I say it's beyond social media and not in place of social media? Here's why. If I have a podcast, that's great. And if they're coming to my email address or my email list, that's fantastic. But I want to develop a deeper connection with people, okay? Which means I want to create what I like to call a hub. And a hub is where I can bring people where they get to see me, hear me, and continue to have value. But my hub is only filled with my ideal client. And I have two places actually on social media that I do that. One of those is my Facebook group. It's a private Facebook group. It is only for women who are coaches or holistic service providers. If you're not a coach or a holistic service provider, you're going to ask some questions. We're going to find out if that's you. If that's not you, that's not a good fit for you. Why? Because I want to make sure that the material that I teach in there is serving my audience that's there. And so we cultivate a very intentional community there where they get access to free lives. They can watch the lives in the group. Sometimes I'll share some files. We have engagement there. They can connect with each other as well. So that is that next piece so that I use my social media hub to begin to develop more value. We also share any type of our workshops, master classes, even our in-person retreats there because it gives us a global reach. Right? So again, the point of marketing is how can we create that next, how do we get people to self-identify and raise their hand and move them to another connection? And what we know is that in today's market, it is about having an experience. It's less about just having access to information, but being a part of something bigger than ourselves. Right? We want to be a part of a community. We want to be a part of a movement. We want to be a part of a community of people so that we don't feel like we're alone, right? We're not the only ones that are struggling with this problem, right? We're not the only ones who are looking for this information. We are humans that love to be in community. That's one of the reasons why one of the biggest fears that all humans have that will trigger a stress response in our brain is a lack of belonging, a sense of rejection. Right? We are hardwired in our brain to not want to be excommunicated from the tribe because we would die if that happened. Okay. So we want to look for places that we can continue to cultivate that community, continue to build that connection. And if you are only doing that off of line, if you're only doing that through an in-person event, then there's not another way for them to continue to have that relationship with you. Right? So let's just say I go to an in-person event and then they connect with me and they come into my Facebook group. Well, now for the next 3 months or 4 months, they're inside of my hub already. They're inside of my community. They're still hearing me. They're seeing me. They're learning from me, even though it's virtually. So it gives people that way to stay in your audience and to learn from you so that they can actually vet you and decide when they are then ready to take that next step with you, which is actually have a conversation. Okay, so they go together. They go together. So I just want to open it up for some questions. The last 20 minutes, I would love to kind of help you answer any questions that you have, whether it's about your ideal client, where you can find them offline, how this whole, offline, online thing, works together. I do believe that using both together is the fastest path to creating success because it is moving somebody from stranger to viewer, from viewer to somebody who's engaged, seeing you, having a more experience with you. It's collapsing what we call the timeline. It typically takes 11 hours of time from the time somebody sees you to actually want to become a buyer with you. So we think 20 to 40 touch points before they want to become a buyer, or 11 hours of time spent with you. If you are only doing that in an in-person event, you've got to do a lot of in-person events, right? Or a long in-person event in order to collapse those 11 hours, or there's 20 to 40 touches. But when you do both, it actually exponentially collapses that timeline quicker so that people are getting more touches and they're getting more experience with you and they're getting more connection with you. So what's popping up for you guys? What questions do you have for me? Is this landing for you? If this is landing for you, just go ahead and pop in the chat for me. Give me a big M for marketing. I got a thumbs up from Jessica. Yeah. And everybody that comments here in the chat, I'm going to actually send you my show notes today. Okay. I'm going to give you the replay. I will make sure that you get the replay of this, and I'm going to give you my show notes. So pop an M in the chat if you would love to have access to this recording and the show note so that you can refer back to those 25 ways that you can market beyond social media. So any questions? Does anybody have any questions for me? No questions? You guys are good? You're all good? No questions. Okay. If nobody has any questions, then I want you to think about what's one place that you can go that's off social media where your ideal client would hang out. So let's think about this in terms of three different categories. Okay. Let's think about somebody who is a relationship. So somebody that you could get in front of that is going to help you share with your audience, with their audience, right? It can also be a place where there is a strategic partnership. And I want you to write down at least three places that you know that you could actually start to reach out, right? Because if you don't need to do all 25, but let's start with three. Let's start with three. What are three places that you know that your ideal client is hanging out? Maybe they're in somebody else's community. Maybe they're at a networking event, right? And if you're unsure how to do this and how to do this consistently or repeatedly, I want to invite you to something that we're actually going to be doing coming up soon. We are actually going to do a 2-hour Beyond Social Media VIP intensive day on April 6th. Okay, so if this is something that you would like to join me for, we are going to strategically make sure that we are helping you uncover and to create a plan for marketing that is going to allow you to get in front of ideal clients off of social media or beyond social media, but then bring them into a hub, right? Because if you are just using Instagram, just using your personal profile on Facebook, the experts are now estimating that up to 40 to 50% of social media accounts may be bots or inactive profiles. That's a lot of people that, if you're only using social media, might not be real people. Okay. But when they are in your Facebook community or when they're in your hub and you are connecting with them, we know that they're a real person, right? So April 6th, we're going to do this great event. We're going to talk about where you want to be visible to attract the right clients who are real humans so you can start to have real conversations, real connections, and real clients. Not just the likes, not just the visibility part that's not going to convert at all, but it's actually an intensive where we're going to help you create consistent visibility, find out those specific places. You may even want to develop some connections and some partnerships with the people that are in that room, so that you can start to have predictable client enrollment. And that is really what we're going for, right? When we are marketing to get in front of our ideal client, but we are also marketing so that we can bring somebody into that next step to ultimately become a buyer. So I'm just going to pop in the chat for you the information about April 6th. You can take a look at it, see if it resonates. If you want to join me, I would love to have you. That would be amazing. And Christine says, ideas for mediumship service, best marketing starting from scratch. Oh, I love this one, Christine. So my friend, who is actually a colleague of mine inside of another program, is actually a sponsor for my event. So we are sharing her freebie as well as her course to everybody who's participating. So think about, where are your people? If you are serving people in, I don't know if you are doing the actual readings, the psychic readings, or if you're teaching people how to connect to their own, right? I want you to think about, who are those people that are coming to you now? Who are those people that you're serving to you now? And who else might serve them? Okay. And look, we all start from scratch. And that's why I think that this is a really great way when you're leveraging other people's audiences. It's a strategic collaboration. It's an opportunity where you can get in front of other people's audiences a lot quicker than just doing it on your own if you're just starting from scratch. So, Christine, is that helpful? Okay, great. You're doing the readings for women who are facing life challenges. Okay, great. So connecting with a life coach would be really, really great. Connecting with women who are, again, what else are they doing? Maybe they're going to yoga studios. Maybe they're going to meditation places because their nervous system is really, really high and stressed out. And so because they're facing those life changes, right? So think about, where are those women hanging out? They might actually also be in a career coach is audience because they're going through some career changes. That's a life-changing experience. Maybe they are going through a divorce. You could look for different groups or coaches. I just met a divorce coach last couple weeks ago when I was in Atlanta. So that would be, somebody who is going through changes. So think about, what type of challenge are they facing and who else serves them? Lawyers, right? What do I ask the studios, etc., for when collaborating? Okay, that's a really great question. So, Christine, what you're asking them for is to, again, provide a service. So, for example, let's just say a studio is wants to have gosh, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a member appreciation, right? I know that the Pure Barre Studio here in Charlotte used to do that all the time. And they would have champagne, and they actually would have other practitioners come in. They had a health coach come in. You could do readings for the people that are there, right? You could do readings for people in like a fireside chat as well. Actually, my coach, for her mastermind, actually hired a psychic to come in and do tarot readings for her program. Like, it was just like a gift. So she hired. So what you're doing is you're letting them know, you're not necessarily asking something from them. You are giving them an opportunity to provide your service as a value to their people. Okay. So you're not necessarily charging. I mean, you could, like, my coach that, hired the psychic to come in and to do reading. She also hired somebody who did sound bath at her in-person retreat, right? So there's a lot of ways that this can go. What we want to do is look for, where are those complementary relationships that we can build where we are giving value and they are wanting to share our value with their people. Is that helpful, Christine? Yes. Oh, good, good, good. That makes my heart so happy. Got the thumbs up. Great. Got it. Absolutely. Yeah. You could also do something that I did at my local church when I was doing massage therapy, is I brought my massage chair at they do like races, right? Like bike races or runs, where they're doing like a 5K or something. There's also local festivals that you could go to and have a table, Christine. Gosh, there's festivals that are like multiple day festivals that you could go and have a table. Oh gosh, there's so many places for you to market. Let me know if you want to hop on a call, and I'm happy to connect with you for 15 minutes and we can dial them down to even more places. Okay. All right. So, what is landing for you guys? I would love to hear from you. What is coming up for you? Does everybody have at least three places where they could start to get in front of their ideal client and bring them into their email marketing system and or a hub or a community where they can start building and growing deeper relationships with them? Again, if you don't have a hub or a community going right now, that's okay. But at some point, you are going to want to do that. Yeah. All right, good, good. Yeah, Christine, just send me a message and I'll send you a link and we'll just hop on a quick 15-minute chat. So if anybody just wants to hop on a 15-minute chat, happy to do that. Again, I believe in the generosity game. I believe that my job is to help you create a win. And so I am generous with my time. I'm not giving away a 1 hour free coaching session. What I'm giving away is 15 minutes to help you uncover what are 3 to 10 places that you can identify where else your ideal client is off of social media so that you can bring more people into your world, bring your ideal client into your ecosystem so that you can start developing those relationships so that they can become buyers. Yeah, great. So Suzanne says she's going to partner with other lists. Yeah, great. Yeah, and I know Suzanne, she's actually one of my colleagues. Suzanne, you've got Carol Look and Sarah Cannell with your book, right? So Suzanne has written a book. That's another way that you can market is by sharing your book, and other people can share your book too, which I know you've done with your book launch. You've done talks on stages. Suzanne's done in-person events. Like those are beautiful ways to get in front of your ideal client. Yeah. Oh, I would love to be on your podcast. Yeah, we'll do a podcast swap. So here's another one. Okay, so this is a perfect example, you guys. This is just a free training. Suzanne is a colleague of mine, but we haven't talked in a couple of months. I think the last time I saw you was probably in January when we were in New York together, right? Oh, that's right, for the lipstick. Yeah, what color is your lipstick? And so, now we have an opportunity to do a podcast swap, right? So Suzanne is inside my community right now. I'm going to share her with all of you guys. We'll do a podcast and you can hear more about her amazing work. And then I'll go in Suzanne's podcast and she can share me with her audience. So love it. Yes, yes, yes. Absolutely. Is this landing for everybody? Is this sounding exciting, encouraging, inspiring? That there are absolutely ways that you can get in front of your ideal client, right? If you keep telling yourself, I don't know where to find clients, I've just answered this for you. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. 35 countries now with your podcast, Suzanne. That's fantastic. Congratulations. Oh my gosh, that's wonderful. Yeah. Suzanne, why don't you share with people like what is it that you do? Like what's your podcast about? And that way people can connect directly with you and see about being on your podcast.
Well, my podcast is called Purpose for Life. And really, basically, what I'm doing is interviewing a wide range of people, like I would say Oprah style,
Oh, I love
to
it.
allow people to really emerge and share the depth of who they are.
Mm,
So, people are just, I started May 29th. I have no idea how I've grown into 35 countries or I'm at like 2,600 downloads. But I think people are really
amazing.
curious. I think what you've been talking today, people want real people to listen
Mhm.
to.
Yep.
And I think that's what's made the podcast work because I don't have like a main thing. Like I'm
Hmm.
not focusing on one particular
Hmm.
thing, but rather
Hmm.
human beings that have found deep meaning and purpose in their life. And
Yeah.
I think people are curious,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and that is one thing, right? I mean, like
yeah.
meaning and purpose in our life is actually very, very specific. It's not like, you know, how do I sell cars today? It's like, how do I find meaning and purpose in my life today? Like that is intimate and experience, an inside experience around life purpose. That's fantastic.
Yeah, so I think that's why it's successful. People want
Mhm.
intimacy.
Yes.
They really do. And my book is called It's Deeper Than That.
Mm.
pathway to a vibrant, purposeful, and liberated life. And it's a combination of memoir, metaphysics, science, and social systems. And then out of that, I've synthesized something called the Great Connection, and I'm looking at how do we move from disconnection to restoration. So
Mm. Will you share that in
share
the
what
chat?
part?
Share your book and your
Yes.
podcast? Yeah. So again, you guys, I believe, and this is just a perfect example. Hopefully you guys are taking notes on this. I believe in the generosity game. I believe that we are all here to help each other. I believe that when I can give value or share somebody with my audience, that it helps each other grow. So I don't believe in just like one piece of the pie, right? Like I had no idea that Susanna's going to be here, but I am absolutely happy, thrilled to share her podcast and share her book in front of you guys. And those of you that are watching the replay, we'll make sure that the links that we're popping in the chat here are available so that if somebody watches this later, Suzanne, we'll bring, people in there because the truth is there's not just one piece of the pie. There is an
Yeah.
entire bakery. I believe that each one of us are baking with each other to create, and the more generous we are, the more abundant we are, and the further and the faster that we grow. Oh, I love this. So, Purpose for Life podcast, you guys go check that out. Suzanne Roberts and her book it's deeper than that book portal. Yeah, absolutely. So, I just want to kind of note that just with Suzanne being in a room with other women, she's like doing a passive way of marketing, right? She's sharing what it is that she's doing, which is fantastic. And that's beautiful. And you guys can do that too, right? There was nothing icky or salesy or slimy, right? Like marketing doesn't have to be that way. Marketing can absolutely be showing up and getting in the rooms and then just sharing what it is that you do. Yeah. Bye, Suzanne. Thanks so much for being here. All right. Any other questions for me? So, Jennifer, I popped the link for the April day. It is in the chat and it is beyond social media. So it's a full 2 hour VIP day where we are going to be in a Zoom room together, but we are going to make sure that we uncover specific for you, customized for you. And we're going to create your marketing plan so that you can identify where you want to market offline, but we're also going to talk about creating a hub too, because that's really, really important. Because just bringing somebody onto your email list is not necessarily turning them into a buyer. That's a start, right? Marketing is a start. Marketing is where we're visible. Marketing is where we are sharing what it is that we do and how we can help people. But that's just a start. That is not sales. Sales happens through a relationship. Sales happens when we start connecting with people, when we start having conversations with people, when we start inviting them to explore where they're stuck, when we start helping them to create wins, right? And then actually invite them to take that natural next step. So the actual invitation is part of your sales system. Marketing is getting in front of people, bringing them in your ecosystem, but you still have to do the things, the steps that are going to move them through so that you've got those relationships that are being developed in your hub so that they can actually see you, know you, hear you, like you, trust you, want to learn more about how they can have your support. So if you want more support, if you want my support, specifically implementing a marketing system that combines both beyond social media and also a hub, come join me in April. I would love to have you. It's going to be so much fun. It's not expensive. It's $197. You will get access to the replay. You will walk away with an entire toolkit, with a workbook, your playbook, exactly what to do. So you'll know the steps to take so that you can bring people in, get in front of your ideal client and the right ideal client, which is important, and then know what to do to move them to become a paying client. All right, everybody, I hope you have an amazing day today. Click the link. Let me know if you would like to join me. And if you want one of those 15-minute sessions, just reach out to me privately. You can either respond to the email that you got, you can respond to the DM that you got today about the live, you can message me on Facebook. Either way, just respond back with, hey, Chris, I would love one of those 15-minute chats, and you've got it. All right, everybody. I hope you have a beautiful day, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.